today?
Oh man, bro. I mean, it was 60 here, but it's dipping now. It's like 55.
Yeah, yeah. It get a little cool at night. Nothing crazy. Like probably drop into the 60s or somewhere. I think it dropped as low as about 58. That's the lowest I've seen it since we've been here.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, we'll see when it get really cold how y'all do. But anyway, peace everybody. It is my pleasure, my honor to bring my great friend on the podcast for the first time. My good friend Poetyc Vision. Some of you know him as Darian. I know him as Viz, but this is my brother. And like I said years ago, this is the one man that if you mess with him, I'm gonna have to put a mask on for him. You know what I'm saying? Something may happen to you, you're not gonna know it was me, but I'm damn sure gonna mask up because that's my brother right there. So, how's everything going, big bro?
Everything good, man. Family life is good. Me and my wife, digging deeper, learning more about each other, like digging deeper beneath the surface, where the substance is at. We've been having like, great conversation as of late. Everything is picking up. Like kids is doing good. She's excelling in her career. A lot of doors is opening up for myself. It's been good. I really can't complain, man.
Well, that's a fantastic segue. So let's talk about that. You said kids is doing good.
Hmm.
So now you guys are really sort of like I would say the poster child for a healthy relationship. Like most people really love seeing you guys together. We love seeing y'all interaction. Y'all been together for a while, and it's healthy. I know y'all argue. I know y'all have problems. Everybody does. But
Hmm.
at the same time, the one thing I could describe it amongst everything is healthy. However, you came into the situation with a child, and she had a child.
Hmm.
So as the graphic that I use to advertise this, everybody's seen that picture of Meek Mill with his phone that says, "I'm liking her photos to let her know I got my stepdaddy license."
Yo.
So I've been a stepfather before. I'm pretty sure you have. So let's talk about some of okay. For let's what was the conversation like when y'all agreed to come together? You knew you had a child and she had a child. What was the conversation like?
I mean, it really wasn't so much to say about because I love kids. I've been around kids. I've taught kids before. Obviously, I have a child of my own, so it wasn't like a conversation that needed to be had. Like I already like understood that that was a package deal, so it wasn't anything that affected me one way or another. I guess you could say going forward with communicating with both parents. I actually went and had a conversation with Bio Dad and just to let them know like, hey, I'm not here to step on any toes. I'm not here to like step in the way. I'm just here to be a guide. I will always give you that respect as the biological.
Right.
And yeah, I just that was just my approach to it. I let her know exactly what I was going to do. And my role, I guess you could say, increased as time went on, or I just tried to fill in ever there may have been a need or a gap. But
Hmm. Well, let me just say I'm sorry. I'm trying to look at if we got any comments on Facebook. Um, so I did this class today. In my class today, we talked about biological children and biological dad. Do I have the article here? Oh my God, I know I do somewhere. Hold on a second, because I want to read this to you, and I want to get your opinion on this. Hold on a second,
okay.
because this is really powerful. Um, Stepfathers, I need your help. I have two children and a stepdaughter. My stepdaughter is 13 years old. She and I only talk when she needs something, food, money, a ride, etc. She doesn't speak to me unless I speak to her first, unless she wants something. My stepdaughter will cook and come in the room and ask my wife only if she wants to eat. She will only address her and not me as if I don't exist. If I ask her to do something, she huffs and puffs like I'm bothering her. Wife doesn't say anything about it. After having countless talks to the both of them about the same thing without any change, I decided going forward that I wouldn't be spending any money or doing anything for her.
Mm,
Yesterday, I took my daughter out to get a pedicure, and when we got done, I bought both my son and daughter food. When we got home, and I had food for my children, and not stepdaughter, my wife flipped out saying I was wrong. My
mm.
thing is, I'm tired of feeling like I have to kiss the ass of a 13-year-old who doesn't seem to want anything to do with me, but feels like she can ask me for things. What should I do? This is causing a strain on my marriage, and I'm ready to move out. Your thoughts?
Wow. Yeah. Oh, you hit me with the whammy up front. Okay.
You know how I do.
Yeah, nah, I mean that's I can't lie, that's a tough position to be in. It sounds to me like the young lady like has a strong attachment to her biological father, and she's not ready to have anyone replace that.
Hmm.
And it may, I'm obviously speculating, but it also sounds like the biological father is not supporting the relationship between his wife and her either.
Right.
So that's not even a child speaking on her own behalf. In my personal opinion, I think
Hmm.
conversation that would have to occur with just the parents in the room, and just to let it, and then kind of invite her in the room afterwards to let her know, look, I'm not here to replace your biological father. If there's anything of service that I have or any need that I have in being a masculine presence in this household, because the mother and the other father are not together, then that's what I'm here for. I don't even think his really his place to start the conversation, but if it's agitating him, I think that's a conversation that he should definitely like have with his wife where, look, I need to get in the room with all the other parents so they can figure this out and just handle it like mature people. If
Right.
not, if that can't occur, uh, I don't advocate for divorce. I can't do that. But
But
yeah,
why would you marry a woman? And this is not new, son. Why
yeah,
would you marry a woman and this was going on anyway? Why would you marry a man and he's allowing his child to disrespect you in this way and then you proceed with the marriage? It's
yeah,
almost like you ignored yourself in order for the concept of marriage, but now you're in it. Now you want to play victim? I can't have sympathy in that situation.
yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I definitely can't have sympathy in that situation, like with the individual playing victim. So it might, because with me, like I treat my marriage like the Trojans did when they was ready to go to war. They burned their bridges. It is what it is. We're here and we're not leaving unless we win.
Right.
So going into
Wow.
if I'm going in with that mentality, there's no losing in this situation. We're going to figure out a way to win. And I think if he leads with that mentality versus going the victim route, you can be successful in it, because it really is like she just the little girl is like a victim as well. She's a victim of two different opinions.
Right.
Okay, my mom and my biological father didn't work out over here. I'm attached to my biological dad. He might still be aggy about it. So that's the narrative that I see when I hear that. So that's a situation where, okay, you don't want to like have to manipulate the child with kindness. I like transparency, but yeah,
Mhm.
I think those parental figures, they need to have a conversation, because he shouldn't accept losing in a
Right.
relationship.
Now, for me, before I ask you a little bit about yourself, here's something I know. I've been a stepdad myself before, and then
Hmm.
I've dealt with women that have children. And just like you, I love children. Obviously, I do. I got five.
Yeah, yeah,
Obviously, I do. And the thing is I love children, man. I really do. I don't know which one I like more. I don't know if I like little girls more. I like little boys, but I just love children.
hmm,
And just being able to get into their little hearts with your kindness and then teach them something positive that they're going to take for the rest of their life, that really excites me. You
yeah,
understand? Like some people just like to be around children just to do something for them and see how they respond, and that's cool. But
hmm,
me, not only do I like, well, it's two things for me. Number one, I like teaching children stuff, and number two, I can tell when a child has had either absentee mother, absentee father,
hmm,
and the only time they may ever have a man interested in them is when you come along. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like you take time out to spend time with them. You spend time out to love them. And I love doing that because I know that I'm healing somebody. You
right,
know what I'm saying? And I
yeah,
know that when I was younger, my dad and my mom split when I was 8 years old. And my mom had several boyfriends until she got married. And I like that little girl, I didn't like none of them. There was one I did like.
right,
I remember there was one I did like, and he used to come in the room with us and play Atari. Like he used to buy Atari, and I'm going way back, right? I used
yeah,
to, he used
yeah,
to most people watching think I'm like Atari. What the hell is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, bro, he bought like 30 to 40 Atari cartridges for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that man. And him
okay,
and my mom ended up breaking up, and I was heartbroken. So that's the other side of this whole stepdaddy stepmom thing is when you kind of invest yourself in the child, and somehow it doesn't work out between you and that significant other, now you got not only a woman or a man heartbroken, but you got a child heartbroken. And
Yeah,
to me, that's tough.
it is. That's traumatic. That's damaging the next generation right there. You know, that one individual, they can go on a route and they can infect 10 other people with that same like traumatic mentality.
Word.
So I agree with you on that as well. Like children, I don't I don't think that people take their they take these cameras and these microphones serious enough. Because you know, we see a lot of stuff on social media. Like you got a
Right.
lot of thought processes. And it's funny, me and my wife were just talking about this on the way home a few minutes ago. Somebody it's something going on about this list. Now, let me jump off on a branch for 1 second.
Sure, go ahead.
It's a list that somebody supposedly made, and when I read the list, I see a joke for the most part. But
Mm.
you heard a young lady that doesn't want to be taken to Cheesecake Factory.
Right, right. I got that list on my page. A lot of people commented.
So listen, I'm just like, all right, this is clearly a parody. It's a joke. That's how I took it. Because basically, you can't take her anywhere. It don't matter if
Right,
you know what I'm saying.
right. You can't go to my house. You can't go to NBA, NFL game. Like,
So
what?
it, it made me think like, and I'm reading some of the comments, or she's reading some of the comments to me, and I'm just like, oh my god. I said, okay, you got to remember, you're dealing with a society of people now that wanted to kill Michael Rainey Jr. because Tariq shot ghosts in a show. Like
Right,
death
right.
threats in his inbox
Mm.
because he shot a fictional character. So people's mentalities is a little like off right now. So just to bring it back to full comparison is you asked me a question prior to that. I want to bring it back.
Um, I think I was I'm not sure because you was going into another area and I was feeling where you was going. But
Yeah.
I would say this to you. I would say this to you. When you decided, you and your wife decided to come together, you knew you had a child, she had a child, and you talked to the father, whatever. What was the conversation between you and her son like?
We communicated every I like it's funny. When he first saw me, he was one. So I've been there since he was a newborn pretty much.
Okay.
It's like, guys like a young guy looking at an older guy like, oh, is he competition? It was like that
Right.
look. And I'm looking like to me, it's just a cute kid. But
Right.
I want to say it maybe took maybe like a day or two for him to warm up to me. And then I was babysitting him one day while she was working. And
Mhm.
when it's like, okay, this is when like my handwriting starts to be a part of his thought process, like my way of parenting or my way of doing certain things. And his mom, like she is a all the way feminine woman, and she loves having that ability where she doesn't have to do both. But he met immediate masculinity. It's like, oh wow, at one,
Right.
that rules were going to be implied. It's a standard to live up to now. But as he developed and got older, the conversation it also developed and got older. It's like that's my buddy. We go to
Right.
times, we'll go out to eat, we'll go for a walk, or I'll sit in his room and just chat with him from time to time. He'll come ask me like some crazy introspection question, or he'll ask me about my childhood. What was life like when you were 8 years old? Or I'm like,
Mm.
what? But this is the kind of kid he is. So yeah, that's my guy. That's
Question. What does he call you?
he calls me by my first name.
Okay.
Yeah. Respect, and I'm cool with that. I'm
That's
all
another thing we talked about. We talked about how sometimes you'll get with certain men or women and they'll give you the title dad or mom. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
And now, like, they got a biological dad or a biological mom. And if they're totally absent, I can understand that. But sometimes that dad or mom is in their life
Yeah.
and they still giving you that title, therefore causing beef. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And so that's what I was wondering, like, because I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it. Like, what would you say to a situation, because your situation is healthy, so we can't really use your situation. But
Absolutely.
what would you say to a situation where a woman got with a dude or a dude got with a woman or whatever, and they had children,
Mhm.
and they gave them that title, even though they had an active father or active mother in their life?
Well, it's funny because that situation is actually real life with my daughter and her mom.
Mm,
So he had gotten married and he became like, her in-house dad.
right.
And 4 years old, I remember seeing her refer to him as dad. And I was like, oh, it was a shock at first. I kid you not. But I after it happened, she looked at me and she said the exact same thing. So like I caught myself in the moment because my daughter's right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then as time progressed, I was like, you know what? It started to just make sense to me. It was like, something that I didn't create an argument about. I didn't have a beef about. I didn't feel like I was being replaced at all because I'm
Right.
there. My daughter's just like me. And funny thing is, when she got out of line, I'm the one that they called to help realign what was going on. And anytime that's happened, I kind of smooth any of those situations out to make it fine. So I never felt like threatened or being replaced or or that I didn't have any say in what was going on because I did. And but yeah, like when that situation happened, when I'm like I'm watching it, like I
Right.
hear it shocked me at first, like, wait a minute, hold on, what? But it was like an immediate, like, defining moment, I guess you could say.
Now, bro, there's a lot of men that won't leave women because they're terrified of that very thing.
Yeah.
Say to
Yeah.
that. So, in
Yeah.
other words, they out there doing them. You know what I'm saying? Whether they philandering or whether they with, their significant other, but they refuse to leave home. And I'm telling you, I have close friends I know who are out there doing them.
Yeah.
And come home to that situation, there's no sex involved. They may be sleeping on the couch and the person sleeping someplace else. And their reason for being there is I don't want, and I got to say it like this, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want no other nigga to be called dad but me. What do you
I
say
got
to that?
got some similar. I got some similar friends that think like that.
Right?
And I feel like we had this conversation before, but it's one of those things where it's just you. I don't like. It's more of an ego thing. I think it is, and if you can get over that hump of feeling like you can actually be replaced, because I think somewhere in there, I don't know, maybe these individuals may feel like they're inadequate, and
Right.
I don't think that that's the case. I think that if you're actively in your child's life and your dad, the children know who you are. Like
Right.
especially if you're gonna. I guess it's one of those things. If you're saying if you're gonna leave, are you leaving them all together? Because if you got the fortitude to do that, you a bad man, and
Right.
probably should feel that way. But
Right.
if you are gonna
Right.
leave the situation and you're gonna actively be in your kid's life, I don't see what the problem is. I guess other individuals feel like other men have something better to offer or what have you. I'm not
No, I
sure.
think it goes back to what you said earlier, bro. You got to be confident within yourself.
Yeah,
And you have to be secure in yourself that you know not only that you're a good dad, but you're a good man. And no man can replace you. It's not to say that no man can be better than you, because better is ego. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? But if I know that I'm a good man and I know that I'm very good to my children, then I'm not afraid. But I think that a lot of times where that comes from is a lot of dudes know they're not really stepping up to the plate as the biological dad. You're
mm,
not spending time, you're not giving them resources, you're not being there emotionally, whatever the case may be, and you're afraid. It's just like a dude, you know what I'm saying? Say for instance, you got an abusive dude that puts hands on women
yeah,
and he's not attracted to her anymore, but he moves on. But anytime she gets a boyfriend, he comes around and beats the boyfriend up. Why? Because you feel like you're inadequate
hmm,
and you feel like there's a guy that's going to come in with more mojo, masculinity, and charisma. He's going to do a better job, and you're afraid of how you're going to look.
right, right. And I mean, those are some tough lessons that some people need sometimes, so you could really take a look at yourself and see where the growth needs to occur at. You know what I
Right.
mean? Um, I think that's what conflict is designed to do for us anyway, to reveal to us areas that we need to grow in. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's hard, man. I mean, and again, for myself, like I feel fortunate that I was able to be hit in that moment like that. Because again, I kid you not, like I remember looking, I'm watching my daughter with the excitement, say
Right.
it like my eyes flashed real quick, and I guess like like she was just wise in her. She was 4 years old. She came to me and she said the same thing.
Right. Right.
Okay, I see. And her mom never made it look like I got to give her mother a lot of credit. I know we had our beefs back and forth for a little while, but we're approaching a friendship at this point in life. We've matured and grown.
That's
Uh,
dope.
for the sake of co-parenting, and I feel like great. I feel really good about that. But for a long time, it wasn't like that, and she never like made me look like or feel like uh she just never made me look bad, especially
Right.
in order, you know. So I give her a lot of credit and respect for that. Like I always lift her up and say she's been doing a great job. And you know, again, we had our beefs, but we never like I never made her look a certain way when I had my daughter, and she never made me look a certain way, you know, taking care of her for most of the time period. So I think that kind of played like a strong role in what was going on too. That's why I always say, you know, the hardest part about parenting is the adults growing up.
Yep. That's dope.
It's not. It's really. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's simple. You know, if you're spending time with your child, like the issue that we have with our children today, right, is we don't spend enough time with them.
Mm-hmm.
There a lot of time. Like this dude is reading on like he's in the fourth grade now, and he's reading on like a sixth, seventh grade level, right? But that's just like me and his mom, predominantly his mom, but myself as well. She would just read to him like before he goes to bed, 10, 15 minutes every night. 15 minutes is equivalent to 1% of your day.
Mm.
So you can't take you nobody can give me the excuse that they can't take 1% when they
Right.
get ready to
Right.
go, turn these little fancy devices off a little while or turn the TV off for 15 minutes to just to read to them.
Mm-hmm.
The ramifications of that when they're in school and their mentality is developing, they're using vocabulary that's challenging. This little dude, we was watching a movie, and the scene didn't go as expected in his mind. We was
Mm-hmm.
on it mansion, I think it was. He said, "Wow, that was anticlimactic, bro. It's a night anticlimactic." Like,
Right.
I was like, hold on, they try to know what that mean, but this is what I'm saying. This is
Right.
a product of like you know her, me and her reading to him every night. Again, predominantly her. I got to give her credit, and you see like you know what that does later on in life. Now his
Yeah.
comprehension is amazing. I used to walk him to school, and we have talks about you know our values, and I would say you know Ethan, what does integrity mean? And like and he would repeat it, you know, doing the right thing when no one's watching, looking. And I would say, okay, so we're gonna practice integrity in school today, right? He said, yeah, and he would like implement that. And I would know because the teachers would tell me like, yo, he was really he's doing the right thing. He's doing this. You know, we never have an issue with him there. So it's just those little small things day to day. You don't gotta spend an hour a day with your kid. You don't. It's they don't require a lot. Most of the time, they just want their own time. But when they come around, they want to feel like you know they welcome.
So let me flip the script. On my page, there's a video of a dude from the South, right? And he's with a child. I don't know if that's his child or maybe that's his nephew or whatever. But apparently the child was talking mad disrespectful to his mother.
Oh
And
wow.
he's in the little dude's face, and he was like, "You cursing at your mother? Dude, why are you talking to your mother like that?" And like he's in his face, regulating them.
Oh, I seen that. Yeah.
And I don't. It appears to me that that's not his father. You know what I'm saying? That's probably an uncle or something like that. Have you had to do that?
No, I've never.
No.
Nah, I've what I see with my little guy is subtleties. You know, mothers and sons, their relationship dynamic is because you know mothers love their son, they love their kids in general, but those opposites, because I know your daughter probably does the same thing to you. My daughter got me like my whole life,
Yep.
that around your finger thing, right? But
Mm.
I see the subtleties where he did something wrong. He knows how to play to his mother emotionally. She slides right into it, and she forgets about you know what he did wrong. So
Right.
things like I never had to like get in his face because he never really. Anytime like you know it sound like he was saying something disrespectful, it was a just a firm voice,
Mm-hmm.
like you know like really like be in his face telling him you know he's doing something wrong because he's really not that kind of child. Like he um just raising a respectful child, you know, just overall. So a lot of the negative influences, I would say he has a healthy concept of putting the dirty glass next to the clean glass. Or, you know, let's just say for example, when he's in school and he sees the kids acting up and they talking too much, he looks at them like they're crazy. Like, what are you doing? We're supposed to be learning. So
Right.
yeah,
You
yeah,
practice in the public, but you practice at home.
yeah, you got to be transparent. If you ain't
Yep.
practicing at home, and it's not even real.
Right. Nah, I mean, bro, listen, I've had to do it. Um, not
Word?
who, but I've had to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you may, and I'm just gonna be keep it 100 with you. Sometimes you may get with a woman or a man. In my case, of course, is a woman because I don't swing that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And have no kind of boundaries for these children.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so then you got to get in the child's face and be like, listen, your mother said go to sleep. It's 12 o'clock at night. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And not that I'm physically restraining them or anything crazy like that, but I got to use my dad frequency.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I think that that is the greatest thing that people don't understand. You don't have to hit a child. You don't have to yell at a child. But sometimes you got to give them that dad voice and let them know there will be consequences if you don't listen to what your mother's saying.
Absolutely.
And they will respect that. I be on the street. Hey, come here. And the average child don't even know me. What do you want, mister? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I understand I carry the dad frequency with me. That is something that I think in our culture we stop teaching young men. We
Hmm.
stop teaching young men that you are a father by birth. You know what I'm saying? Whether you choose to have children or not, and you can tap into that energy and you can regulate children when they need to be regulated when they go off the path. But I
Right.
think that unfortunately, what undermines that is when you leave and pandemonium happens again. You know what I'm saying?
I think um I guess you can say the way things started to happen throughout time. Like I grew up in the projects, and I grew up around that same kind of energy where any other parent could check you and
Yep.
mom know when you was doing so. So if they checked you, your mom is gonna check you again when you get home.
Mm-hmm.
At with probably with even worse punishment or what have
Right.
you. So growing up around that concept, you kind of like picked up on self governing at an early age. You know, I can't be outside acting crazy. For one, I had a big family, so everybody knew my family. If I'm out there acting wild, like my mom's gonna know, my uncle's gonna know, my grandmother gonna know. So I'm gonna get the disappointment from the feminine side, and I'm gonna get knocked upside the head from the masculine side.
Right.
So I
Right.
had to act accordingly. At least that's how the lesson like came across to me. But yeah, I just think at this point in time when parents it got generationally somewhere the ball was dropped where a lot of parents were saying, okay, I don't want you talking to my child like that. Or if your child is acting up in school, because I went through this, I remember calling a parent about her daughter. She was going buck wild in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling you to let your daughter know she was doing this. We're gonna need you to come in. We gotta have a parent teacher conference. And she was just like, I don't believe she did that. I believe you're not doing something right. I believe
Right.
school is failing her. And I'm looking at the phone like, excuse me? Like, I've, I'm shocked that I even got you on the phone right now to let you know what's happening. But
Right.
she's behaving like this. To your point, there's no there's no negative reinforcement. There's no consequence behind her activity. So outside of the rules that she was getting at school, she was just doing what she wanted to do when she went home. But I think that that element was dropped, or it was lost for a while. I see it coming back. I see, when I was going to schools, I see a lot of dads showing up. I see mothers working it out with fathers. I see outside the common narrative that's promoted on screen. In real life, I see a lot of people like actually trying to work it out now, but maybe that's just my perception. Those are the things I tune into because that's what I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Need to see the opposite side, and media is going to enforce that because they like having this
Yeah.
way of thinking for us right now. But yeah,
Nah, you know what? You're from Albany, so you know Dennis Edney, commonly known as Papa D.
who's
And
that?
when I was a young Muslim, Papa D used to always stop me in Stewart's, and he used to compliment how I dressed because being a young Muslim, I had to dress with a suit and tie and all other stuff.
You stay sharp, man. I don't think you know how to not dress in a suit and tie. You probably tie you out there doing picking locks and putting up cameras, man.
I'm trying. You know what I'm saying? I bought a couple of pairs of jeans and I'm trying. But anyway, um, what you call it? So he was like, one day he started telling me because he's been in the school system for years,
Hmm.
and he was telling me about how he would go through the same thing you went through, where parents would call up there yelling and screaming about this, that, next, and he'd be like, "When is the last time you came to a parent teacher conference? When is the last time you checked on your child's homework?" I had friends when I was younger. I had friends when I was younger that I saw, like my mom, man, listen, bro, my mom had me trained to the point where I would come home and do my homework every day as soon as I got home. I
Mm-hmm.
literally remember falling, because, you know, I had to watch my cartoons, Transformers, G.I. Joe, whatever. And then after that went on, when DuckTales went on, that was too young for me. So I
Uh,
didn't want to mess with that. So I would start doing my homework. I would fall asleep during DuckTales every single day, every day. And then I would wake up and then I would go to some of my friends' house. And so I remember some of my friends, they would literally be changing the dates on their homework, bro. Changing dates on their homework. And their mother and father jacked it.
yo, that's genius on their behalf. As a kid, I wish I would have thought of that one.
Nah, no, you don't.
Nah, I'm
No,
joking.
you don't. You would have missed a lot. But, you know, the bottom line is that I think that there's some parents that are there, but there's some parents that, even though they have their children, they're absentee.
Right,
And it's a problem in these relationships because, you know, you get with somebody and you want to love the significant other. But then, just like in that article I just read or that piece I just read, there may be a child there and you don't have any rules, you don't have any boundaries, you don't have any principles instilled in that child. So now you're at war, not with the child, but you're at war with that person's whole value system. And that
right.
can be tough to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because we didn't really discuss that when we first started talking. You know what I'm saying? We
Right,
just talking and we liking each other, then we love each other and we become intimate. And then now we got our feelings out. And I never stopped to say, hey, wait a minute. What's your values with your children? Because
right.
once me and you come together, I'm going to have to deal with that. You know what I'm
Ab-
saying? And I
yeah,
think that's where the problem a lot, because I talked about this in my class today, and to a man, all the dudes in my class is full now. All the dudes is talking about, no, I don't sign up for no stepdad thing. I don't say, and I was like, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I will say this: I don't mess with no woman who I'm not in alignment with their values towards their children if they got children. That's
yeah.
something important to me at my age.
Yeah, I think and that's another thing, like, just what's been pushed out there so often. Everybody, like, a big butt, nice smile, attracted to all the trappings, all the physical features. It don't even matter if it's real anymore to a lot of people. Like, they're attracted to something that's just not real. So when the rubber meets the road and you come back to reality, attitude set in, not just from you, it's something externally outside of you. It's these children,
Mm-hmm.
because children, like, their job is to push boundaries, and your job is to create boundaries. You know what I'm saying? So if they're pushing boundaries and you're not creating any of them, now you're meeting friction. Okay, now you actually have to do something because it's interrupting your fantasy of just thinking you're just gonna come in, pop in, and just have sex every night, and just not do anything. Just be like, practice bad spiritual hygiene and just be mentally lazy or what have you. But it sets in and people forget, like, wow, like, this is something that's needed. This is something that makes sense. This is the next generation. Like, the kids are there to force you to grow up. You have a responsibility, and most people they don't sign up for responsibilities. So I definitely commend you, by for and again, you love children, so that's like the commonality, that's the common ground, or the common denominator, if you will, where you stepping in, and you really have to ask the parent, and then watch their pattern. Like, wow, how do you, what's your idea for your kids? What's your value system, to use your concept, for your children? I think that's brilliant. I think that's something you should pay attention to even more if you're dating someone that has children. But yeah,
Because
yeah,
the bottom line, bro, and we got to go. But the bottom line is I'm coming to love you. I'm coming to love your children too.
yeah,
And from a positive standpoint, your value system may prevent me from loving your children all the way, and I don't want that. You know what I'm
not
saying?
that.
I I don't want to be dealing with some terrorist that I take every 5 seconds, and you know what I'm saying. So it's this much discipline and that much love. That's crazy. I'm not signing up for that. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
And once I'm there, my feelings, I'm attached. Now that's my problem. You know what I'm saying? But I learned from past heartbreak, nah, 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 nah. Are you going to circumvent my ability to love your child? And that's the way I look at it. And
right,
when I put it to you like that, you can't get offended. Because if you put it to them like, oh man, I got to deal with your badass child. Well, of course, you know what I'm saying? You ain't going to get nowhere with that.
Hmm.
But when you put it the way I'm putting it, like, look, are you going to do something that prevents me from fully loving your child? That puts them on notice. They got
Let
to
me,
look at themselves and say, damn, am I doing that? You know what I'm saying? Because, and also, are you preventing your child from being, I mean, this is a deeper conversation, but are you preventing your child from being loved? Because if your child grows up and they're not properly loved, it doesn't matter if it's a stepfather, the real father, mother, or whatever. You're turning a person with damaged goods onto society. And now you're responsible for what the hell that person does in society. Because we can train the root of a lot of the causes that happen in society of a child living in love scarcity, not getting enough love when they was younger. I'm convinced of that.
let me ask you a question. How you
Sure.
feel the whole idea? And I know it's a joke, but I'm a words person, so I pay attention to stuff.
Mhm.
The whole F these kids concept that people be pushing out. How do you feel about that?
You will never in 20 lifetimes hear me say that bullshit.
Got you.
I
Okay.
won't even joke like that. First of all, no disrespect. I don't use the terminology kids.
Yeah,
I
I get it. Baby goats. Yeah, I'm with you.
I
Children.
don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I already from the nation I wasn't using it. But what's the name of the good brother that passed away, the metaphysician? Dr. Delbert Blair
Oh,
once came on Ledge Radio and he like tore that shit out the frame, that whole kids concept. And after that, you never heard me say that. But the reality of it is that when you say F these kids, even if you joking, you know what I'm saying? To me, you're just putting that out there in the universe. I
right,
can't do that, bro. I
right.
can't. I love children. And I think that children are innocent. And I worry about like being the kind of person I am is going to make me sound, simple shit is what it is. When I really get into my bag, I weep at how much children are abused. I
No.
really do.
Yeah.
You understand? And that's why I could never be a social worker or work in that field because I mess around and have a heart attack and a stroke, bro. I would. Not only that, but I put my hands on a lot of people.
Yeah.
And you see how small I am. Because if I came into your home and I knew you was abusing a child like that, I don't know if I could control myself. Because I love children, but I'm more so concerned about children's safety, man. You know what I'm saying? So the idea of FD now, mind you, a good sister that you and I both know did a poem called FD's Children, and it
Mhm.
was funny. You know,
Right.
it was funny, and I know she loves children, and I love her to death, like from the top of her head to the bottom of her toes. You
Absolutely.
know what I'm saying?
Sister.
But you will never, 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 never hear me say that bullshit ever, ever, because like let me tell you something, and we got to bounce.
Hmm.
One of the main problems I had with the black movement of my era is that we spent so much time on the work and no time on the children. That's one of the main problems I had. You
Hmm.
was required to be out there from sun up to sundown, whatever organization you was in, the Wabians, Nation, Morris Science Temple, whatever. You was out there from sun up to sundown. And even let's just say, for instance, your children came to service with you. You're not dealing with your children in service. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, they grow up and there's a inherent neglect in all of that time that's being spent.
Word.
And what's being sold to you is we're building a nation or we're building an organization or we're building the kingdom of heaven. You can't build the kingdom of heaven without the goddamn children. You can't.
It's impossible.
You know what I'm saying? So for you to turn around and say F these kids, like, I'm sorry, bro, I'm not jacking that. I'm really not jacking that. It's offensive to me. It
Right.
really is. It's offensive to me.
Oh, no, I totally agree. I started to write like a counter narrative to that myself because I'm very sensitive to kids, man. Like when the way kids are taught, the things you introduce to them, like that, um, it's criminal to me that children are not allowed to be children. Like right now, like I love watching my daughter and my little guy to this day, like just be their natural goofy self. I
Yep.
love my daughter has so much support on her basketball journey right now. Like I sit back. I mean, me and my wife was watching something one day, and it triggered me, and I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, I got emotional. I got like teary eyed about it, and I know we got to go, so I'll wrap up real quick.
It's all good. We're going to do this again.
Oh yeah, absolutely, we got to.
Yep.
Watching something, and it was a kid that wanted to go and do like pursue his dreams, but you seen the mother like kind of talking him out of it because she was afraid that if he went away, She just didn't want him to go that far away. She wanted the child to stay close. And I got
Mm-hmm.
about that because that's something that I actually went through.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know. You told me
Mother-
about it. Come to think of it.
Me too.
Um, I was supposed to be in a graphic design school in Arizona, and I got accepted to another one in Sacramento right out of high school. My mom went and looked up the worst information she could find on one of these schools, and she showed it to me, and that made me not want to leave. You know what I'm saying? And years later, I didn't think about it. I'm just like, wow, like why did she do that? And me and my mom, we had to talk about it. Like she was very apologetic about it in today's time, but that's something that got me emotional because it's like, damn, like you're not allowing the kids to go out and become like, to really go out there and like build something of themselves if that's what they desire to do. So yeah, just bringing them back, man. Like I'm super sensitive to things that are said about children because one, your subconscious mind can't take a joke, so I don't joke around with stuff like that.
Right, right, right.
And two, like the way I view them is like they're they next up. They next up, and I don't want to. I want to give them as much as I can to that development, so they can really like take what we give them and thrive with it. Real quick, I got a complimented that to the highest degree last night. I had a student DM me on IG, and he said, "Mr. Gooden, I just got a question for you. I don't want to mean to be vague, but I would like to go a couple services deep. How can I become a better man? Like I watch a lot of the stuff you put out, and like, yo, that bro, that I mean, I get a lot of my students that
Doesn't
come up,
that mess you up?
huh?
Doesn't that mess you up?
Yeah, it did. I saved it because I'm a screenshot, and I cross his name out obviously because I want to protect his safety, but I want to I'm gonna put it in my stories probably later on sometime tomorrow. But that was like a high compliment for me.
Mm.
So I'm get like in my mind, I'm like, wow, like what can I possibly say? But then it just kind of came to me. So I threw a couple things out there. He's asking some more questions, like he's really getting into it. I bumped into him at Walmart before I left to come move down here, and he didn't want to go back to work. He just wanted to talk to me about so many different things because he remembered everything he learned in the classroom with me. He was holding on to certain things, but he really just wanted to dig in deeper on that. And man, I would have gave him all the time he asked for. Like I came in there for one item. I'm like, yo, I'll create however much time you got right now just to give you whatever it is you're asking for. So that's what I mean about like the kids, man. Especially when they that low hanging fruit and they hungry like that, man. You
Mm-hmm.
give it to them. Just
Yep.
give.
Yep.
Like,
Bro, listen. I was going to be a comic artist, bro.
yeah.
Comic artist. I wanted to work for Marvel Comics.
You
My dad told me that he threw my comics away and my stories. And I came into the security industry. And then I went to go see my dad, and he pulled out all my comics that he said he threw away. 20 years later. 20 years later.
how you recover from that?
I mean, bro, I keep telling myself one day I'm going to draw again. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't stop and get depressed about it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's you see how my voice is changing talking about it, right? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I was that nigga when I was younger. Like, not only did I draw comics, but I wrote stories for all my friends. All my friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how deep I was into it. And he told me that the roaches and termites got to him and he had to throw them away. And then years later, he gave me back my comics. Now, mind you, I make a decent living doing what I do. My son is in the industry and all that other stuff. So maybe stuff wouldn't have turned out that way. That's how I deal with it. Is that I was meant to do what I was doing. And maybe if I would have gone into the comic book world, I'd have been like, because a lot of the black comic artists, they end up sniffing coke and stuff like that. And I
Yeah.
won't no names, but you heard the stories. So
Yeah.
maybe I wouldn't have done, maybe I would have never been a minister or none of that stuff. So I know that fate happens, but at the same time, it's like, wow, what would have happened if I would have been allowed to be a child and grow up and pursue my dream? And that's why I'm so hardcore in letting my children pursue their dream. I did everything I could to discourage my son to come in my industry, bro. Everything I could. And now he's in it and he's thriving. He's making good money. And I always ask him, are you sure this? Even today, he's a monster in this industry. Like, I'm very proud of him. And I
That's
ask him periodically, are you sure this is what you want to do? He'd be like, yeah, Dad, why you keep asking me? He doesn't know I'm not asking him that. It's
yeah.
asking my father. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to make the same mistake. You know,
Yeah.
and like we could talk forever, bro, but I got to get going. Listen, I love you.
Wise family.
You know what I'm saying? You're my brother. You're my brother for life. We got to do this again. And you see how next time I'm gonna give us a whole hour, because half hour is not good enough for us.
Absolutely.
I hope that you share it on your page or whatever. But it was a pleasure and an honor, bro. Have a great night.
I appreciate you, family. Thank you, man.
Peace.
We gonna get up sooner than later.
Indeed. Peace.
All right.